Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 11 of the NordCast. It is Tuesday, December 20th. I am your host, Nordic97, who is currently supposed to be on break, but the grind doesn't stop, I guess. We got to get this podcast out, and then we're done with breaks. I'm exhausted, guys. I'm going to apologize in advance. I am so sleep deprived and so tired that I might start rambling in this podcast. So I'm just going to apologize in advance. But anyways, I'm joined here with my two wonderful co-hosts, Carter.
How's it going, everyone? World Junior season is upon us, and I am dialed.
And Jack.
Yep, I'm with Carter on that one.
Yes.
And we're back once again. We have a couple topics to talk about. Our last episode was obviously taking a look at every single team in the league, a long 2-hour episode. I'm going to guess that it's not going to be as long this episode, but we do have some stuff we do need to talk about. Starting off with the New York Rangers. Now, in our last episode, when we talked about every single team, we talked about how the Rangers were kind of, struggling. I mean, they were losing to teams they should be beating, like Chicago, for example. They lost 2 in that point. And ever since I made that TikTok talking about Gerard Gallant, the Rangers have turned it around, which me doing God's work once again.
Every time you make a TikTok about a team doing good or bad, it does the complete opposite.
Yeah. Like the Sabres. The Sabres are insane, and then they lose 8 in a row. It was, oh my God. There's a couple other examples about that too, but I can't seem to understand why. But lately, the Rangers have definitely been really good. They've won 7 straight games. They are 8-1-1 in their last 10, and they are 18-5-0 overall. I mean, this is the reason why you really shouldn't doubt on a team. It still is relatively early. We're kind of approaching the halfway mark to the season, so we'll start to know where teams are exactly placed at. Why you making that face?
I don't know. I feel like I heard something wrong.
What'd I say?
Did you say 18-5-0?
Is it 18-5? I might have gotten the date. I might have gotten it mixed up.
They're 18-10-5.
18-10-5. Yeah.
Sleep deprived Nordic, everyone.
That's half asleep me writing down notes here.
It's all right.
I should have definitely pointed it out that they're not 18-5-0 because
as soon as you said that, I'm like, did I hear that wrong? I'm like, there's no way this is correct, right?
Yeah, that's my fault, guys. Sorry.
You're okay. You're tired. We forgive you. We stand Nordic 97.
But yeah, they struggled a little bit there. Gallant kept changing up the lines. You kept hearing a lot of complaints from Jacob Trouba. But, I mean, in this 7-game winning streak, they have turned it around. They're not playing, amazing teams. They played Philadelphia. They played Chicago. Those are the couple teams that they played during this win streak. But I still think overall, they really have turned it around. They've beat teams like the Devils as well. And they're just playing.
Honestly, they've beaten a lot of good teams in that.
Yeah, I didn't
Devils, Leafs, Avs, Knights, Blues.
Blues aren't that good.
They're pretty mediocre. They're on a winning streak, though.
Oh, they are? Well, they're going to go on a losing streak soon because that's what St. Louis has been doing. But, the Rangers, they're beating pretty good teams. We kind of saw this at the beginning of last year. They kind of struggled a little bit out of the gate, which happens for some teams. The Leafs are a prime example of that. For, the first month of October, they're just like a meme. They're losing the teams they should beat. It's just brutal. But the Rangers have definitely turned it around, and they've played pretty well in this stretch. So, does anybody have any, notable player stats? Because I know Artemi Panarin's playing really solid, but apart from that, it really seems like there's no surprising players that are playing, out of their minds, on other teams. But still, they still have, the main solid big guys performing, which sometimes is what you need.
Yeah.
I've seen good things from Adam Fox, but I don't know his exact stats. I've seen him in highlights a lot, so I'm assuming he's playing well.
Yeah, Fox, I don't have any stats written down here for him, but he's putting up some pretty good numbers.
Yeah.
Artemi Panarin has only 8 goals this year, which you think he'd have more through this season, but he has 32 assists, so he's really racked up the assists.
He's passing the puck.
Yeah, he's actually passing the puck this time for the Rangers. And it's definitely helped him out. So he has 40 points overall this season. And a lot of those pucks may have been going to Mika Zibanejad as he leads the Rangers in goals with 15. He's obviously been playing pretty good as well, 37 points. Some other players who have been scoring a little bit. Vincent Trocheck has 11 goals, and Chris Kreider has 14 goals as well. So the Rangers definitely getting some secondary scoring there as well. Wouldn't expect Kreider to score 50 again, though. Definitely not. But
no.
still playing pretty solid. Looking at the goaltending, Igor Shesterkin, 16, 4, and 4, a 2.39 goals against average, and a .919 save percentage. Now, the Rangers and Shesterkin hasn't looked like the unbelievable goalie we saw last year. And that's because I think the Rangers kind of got some better defense behind him, maybe. And that's why his stats are a little bit worse. But also that rough start to the year definitely did take a big toll on him. So obviously his stats are still pretty good, but they're not Vezina caliber like Linus Ullmark with his less than 2 goals against, which I think is unbelievable. So yeah, I kind of talked there a lot. Do you guys have any thoughts on the Rangers and their 7-game win streak so far?
Yeah, I mean they started off slow. I think everybody knows that, and they're really one of those teams. Like they have a good roster. And it was just a matter of time before they picked it up, really. And we've seen them do that now. So looking like what they were last year.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, like this team has pretty much the same lineup. They lost a couple of players, but I don't think that, it's really affected them all too much. In fact, I think they're better. However, come trade deadline, they may need to make some kind of move. And this is a good tie-in to our next team we're going to talk about. Jack, I want to get your thoughts here. What do you think, like, how would you feel if Patrick Kane got traded to the Rangers? I'm not saying that it's going to happen. I'm not saying that it's even possible. But, like, what would your reaction be? I know you would probably be
you're not
sad,
getting
but,
Lafreniere in return.
What?
Yeah, I wish. Yeah, but I mean, it'd be sad to see him go, obviously, but I wouldn't be upset as long as the return's good. Because if Kane's going to a team, I want to see him go to the Rangers. Just him and Panarin, that'd be so fun to watch. Like it was Panarin's rookie season in Chicago. But yeah, if he's going to a team, I really want it to be the Rangers. And I mean, I do want us to trade him, unless he wants to stay.
Yeah, it'd be great to reunite the good old duo there between
Yeah.
Kane and Panarin. And like I mean like you look at like the deadline this year, to me it's like it's really Patrick Kane and there's no other eye-opening like big forwards out there on the market because we thought that what Carter?
Bo Horvat?
Oh, Horvat, that's right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Horvat. That's
Horvat
true.
and Besser. Apart from that, there's really nobody else that's eye-opening.
Chychrun.
Chikrin's a defenseman.
Oh, you're talking just. Oh, I thought you were talking
Yeah.
like all players. My bad.
No, I meant forwards.
My bad.
I thought Winnipeg would have been one of those teams that was very intriguing. I thought maybe like the Rangers could make a move on like Scheifele or Wheeler, but the Jets have definitely turned it around this year and are playing really, really good.
Wheeler is in surgery. He does not have. Yeah, I think he's got groin surgery right now.
Yeah, we'll get into news about that later. I have that in headlines, but
Here's the thing with Kane, really quick. Like Hawks fans don't really know if he wants to be traded or not. That's the main thing holding Kyle Davidson back, I think. Like if he wants to stay, I've heard this before, like he wants to break every single franchise record, but like I don't know. We'll see. I think he will get traded, but I mean that'd be the only reason why he'd want to stay. He doesn't want to be part of a losing team. So
yeah, if he does get traded, maybe he'll come back in free agency if like all those franchise records is truly what he wants to do and break. If that's truly what it is, you'll probably get him back in free agency or something like that.
I really haven't heard anything in regards to that. I heard something a few weeks ago from Elliot Friedman saying that it's more likely at this point that he wants to stay in Chicago. Friedman was like he hasn't said anything, but if he hasn't said anything yet, that probably indicates he does want to stay in Chicago, which I don't really believe. I would think he probably has a lot to think about right now, but I think probably come mid-February you'll probably have an answer on whether or not he wants to get dealt or not. But the public may not even know until deadline day. So who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen like Brock Besser, for example. He's been in trade rumors for so long, and I'm trying to think of other examples of players who were like asked of whether or not they wanted to be traded and they weren't traded. But like it,
Yeah.
it's like kind of difficult to like kind of figure that out. And the worst part is I don't think you'll know an answer until deadline day.
It's the same thing with Taves too.
Yeah.
He's coming to Winnipeg. He's taking a hometown discount in free agency. And
That'd
he's
be
coming
cool
to
to see.
Winnipeg.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would love to have Taves back.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Maybe name him captain, new captain of Winnipeg, Captain Furious.
Maybe he's too old. He might be too old for that. But
Yeah. Anyways, now turning the tide to mainly the Blackhawks. Apart from the Rangers 7-game winning streak, the Blackhawks have been on a 7-game losing streak. Lately this season, they are 1-9-0 in their last 10. It has been absolutely brutal for this club. They are 7-19-4 overall, and they are now last in the league. Anaheim was last in the league for a little bit by a lot.
Then they won 2 in regulation.
Yeah, they won 2 more in regulation.
They got another one. Look at them go.
This is the
They're
start
making
of the
a comeback.
turnaround.
Here it comes.
Comeback.
Season
They
turns
Give 'em the
around.
cup.
Nordic made a
Give 'em the
TikTok
cup.
about them sucking. They said no more. Now they're
I
going to
did?
win it all. I don't
I
know
made
if
a
you did or
YouTube video
not.
about them sucking.
I'm going to
must
assume
have.
you
must
did.
have. If they
Anaheim
turned it
used to
around.
pray for times like this. We used to pray for regulation wins. But anyways, I mean, like Chicago. I mean, we expected this. They played well in the first 2 months of the year, but I mean, they've kind of started to really wear off. I mean, like, there's really nothing else you can say. I mean, like, this team's a really bad team on paper, apart from Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews, or just Patrick Kane, to be honest. There's really nobody on that core that's like eye opening, except for like maybe a guy like Max Domi.
Yeah.
But like apart from that, really, this team's kind of been pretty uneventful. I also like to mention they only have 2 players with 10 goals.
Yeah.
With 10 or more goals. And that's just crazy to me. Like that's just like
It's Taves and Domi, right?
yeah, it's Toews and Domi. It's just been absolutely brutal for Chicago. So I'm gonna turn it over to Jack. For those who don't know, Jack is a Blackhawks fan. I'm gonna just let Jack just talk about what he thinks. I mean, he kind of mentioned that like this was going to happen anyways. You could have seen this coming, but like, Jack, do you have any other thoughts as of right now?
Yeah, it's going to be a long rebuild, and being last in the league is not the worst thing in the world. It's probably one of the better things that can happen to this team right now. Just if you get Connor Bedard, this rebuild speeds up by probably 3 or 4 years. You build a team around him. If you keep Kane, you keep him. If you trade him, you trade him. We'll see what happens with that. But I mean, this team does have assets: Kane, Taves, Domi, Athanasiou, even Jake McCabe on defense. Yeah, so it's guys like that are gonna really jumpstart this rebuild. You can get some prospects and some picks, especially for Kane. I'm sure you can get probably 2 first rounders, couple prospects for Kane. So yeah, I think that speeds up the rebuild. This season is lost. I think we knew that before the season even started. So yeah, and they're finally showing that this is the worst team in the league. So
now, kind of thinking about that, if they keep Kane and they get Connor Bedard, honestly, maybe this rebuild could be over in like 2 years. Honestly,
yeah, maybe.
Honestly, if you keep Kane on this core, Kane's an amazing and still a generational talent of a player. He is getting up there in age, but I think if you get Connor Bedard, you should honestly keep him. I mean, like, it's kind of difficult then because like, what if you don't trade him and then you got Connor Bedard and he still wants to leave? It's kind of difficult then. But if they can keep both of them and like kind of make the right moves in the offseason and maybe get more draft picks in next year's draft, when it's I almost said Michael Misa, but he's not till like 2025. I can't think of what the guy's name is, who's like the first overall.
Well, I'll look it up. You guys continue talking. I'll figure it out.
It's like some random name. It's like I think he's from like Vancouver, I think also. But like I think honestly, if you stack up on prospects, get more draft picks, and you get Bedard and Kane and maybe Lucas Reichel pops off, maybe this rebuild could be over sooner than expected, honestly. And
Yeah.
that could be a really good thing for the Blackhawks. So maybe they get Bedard, maybe they don't, but there's a lot of other teams that are definitely in competition for him right now. Anyways, looking at some player stats, Patrick Kane here, 18 assists for 22 points. He really has not scored that much this year. A little less than expected, but obviously the Blackhawks are a pretty bad team. The Max Domi as well could be a player that a lot of teams look at come trade deadline. 10 goals, 10 assists for 20 points. That's not like eye-opening, but for like a fourth line, like, secondary scorer on a team, he could do some good things for whatever team he gets traded to. And then in net, there's been a lot of injuries in net, but Peter Mrazek's played the most games. 2-7-1, a 4.24 goals against average, and a .872 save percentage. Carter, did you figure out what the guy's name was?
No, not at all.
I remember seeing it somewhere. He got welcomed into some team, but I don't know. Next year's draft might be a little bit not that stacked. But this year's draft is looking to be very good. So maybe Chicago should try and get some more picks. And we'll see, but this is just the worst part of it for Chicago, honestly. Once you get through this part, just kind of savor
it's all
up
uphill
this
from here.
Yeah, it's up from here, honestly. And as a Coyotes fan, this really is the worst of it. I mean, that first year in the rebuild is absolutely just brutal. It's the worst year of it. What's up?
Is it Cole Eiserman?
It might be. I can't remember. I can't even.
I don't know. Well, he's the number one on Craig Button's list.
Oh,
that guy's also American.
Oh, I can't think of any players from next year's draft. That's kind of concerning. I can think of players from 2025, but not this year or next year. But what was I saying? But yeah, this is the worst part of it. I mean, this is just the worst year. It's absolutely brutal this first season. Next year, it does get a little bit better as a Coyotes fan, but definitely, or coming from a Coyotes fan, not as a Coyotes fan. But in those coming years, the best parts of it are draft day and free agency, and honestly, even trade deadline. Seeing your team make moves and getting more assets for the future. That's the fun part for me. And I don't want to say I love seeing a team go through a rebuild, but I love seeing
process.
The development of a team.
Yeah, exactly.
A team like Ottawa, for example. They've built up this team for so long. Many would argue they're still building up the team, but
when you see it pay off, it's so refreshing.
Yeah, when it pays off, it's amazing. And it just feels good. And especially yeah. But anyways, what do you guys think about the Blackhawks? If you guys have any more thoughts?
Yeah, I pretty much said all my thoughts.
They suck, and it makes the
Thanks,
look a lot better. Hey, I could try and make it a lot softer for you, but I'm just gonna tell you right how it is.
Hey, you're keeping it real. That's okay.
It makes everything so much better because it makes it easy to bet with you.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm not doing those anymore as long as we're on this rebuild.
Oh, we forgot about our little bet because okay, a little story time, guys. In our NordCast Fantasy League, I was up on Carter.
Oh, I won! I forgot!
By so many points in fantasy, and he made the biggest comeback I've ever seen in fantasy history and beat me. It was
I didn't just almost fall off my chair. Don't worry about that. I was so happy. What was our bet again? I don't remember.
I don't remember either. I don't think we made
one.
one. I think you typed in our group chat. You were like, "What happened?"
Yeah, I think it was to be determined. I'll have to figure out what the punishment's going to be for you losing that.
Yeah, it's going to have to be in the next episode. I think we would have had one decided if we recorded last week, but we were too busy. So
I completely forgot about it. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
so well,
if you didn't say anything about the bets, I would have forgot as well. But anyways,
I'm writing this down.
Moving on to some headlines here. We did have a couple trades happen. They weren't huge deals, but they were still notable trades. The Colorado Avalanche have acquired Dennis Malgin from the Toronto Maple Leafs in exchange for Dryden Hunt. Obviously, two players that are kind of fourth line depth forwards not really that big of deals. So obviously this is like kind of just a 1-for-1 def deal. Mainly just fourth line players. This next trade was actually a 3-way deal between 3 minor players. The Anaheim Ducks acquired Michael Del Zotto. The Detroit Red Wings acquired Danny O'Regan, and the Florida Panthers acquired Giovanni Smith. So really just minor trades all around. This past week, it's actually kind of shocking. There's been trades. I was like seeing these trades happen. I'm like, wow, deals are happening. It's. I mean, like comparatively speaking, to last year, you had like the Jack Eichel trade, and then you had coaches being fired too, like Elaine Vigneault, Travis Green, Jim Benning, all of that stuff happening. This year, it's kind of been dry. I mean, I don't want to say it's been dry, but like no coach has been fired yet. There's been no big trades. Nothing's really happened so far this year. I don't want to say it's been boring, but it's been
it's been way less eventful.
Yeah, that's a good way of wording it. Anyways, though, there is some stuff going on. Alex Ovechkin has reached the 800 goal plateau. Little round of applause for the man himself, Alex Ovechkin. He is 1 goal away. Or has he tied Hal yet? I don't think he has.
I don't think he has, yeah.
I haven't seen any tweets about it yet, so I'm going to say no.
No, he is 1 goal away from tying Gordie Howe at the time of recording of this podcast for second all-time in NHL history. Now, I'm going to ask you guys this question, and I wanted to make a TikTok on this, but I've been so busy lately I haven't had time. I'm going to ask you guys this. Do you guys think Alex Ovechkin is the greatest goal scorer of all time, whether or not he breaks the goal record? Like, does he have to break the goal record to be the greatest goal scorer of all time?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think he's got it locked pretty much.
I agree. I saw stats. I think I saw it on BR Ice, which I think is one of the coolest things ever when they brought that in when ESPN came in. I love that.
Oh, yeah, Bleacher Report, right?
Yeah, Bleacher Report. I love that. But I saw stats saying that like Ovechkin, he still had a lot of power play goals, but like almost half of Gretzky's goals came on the power play.
Really?
Almost half of them, which I thought was actually kind of crazy.
I wonder how many of Ovechkin's goals have come from the exact spot that he takes one-timers at. Just anywhere in that area. I want to know what the percentage is. That'd be cool to know.
I think, people say that, like, oh, he's not the greatest goal scorer of all time because he gets all of his goals from there. Gretzky got all of his goals from behind the net.
Yeah.
Like, he would always get passes from behind the net and just, I didn't mean he's hitting Michigan's every single goal. But, like, he'd always, like, start off behind the net and go to, like, the same place to score the same type of goals, more or less. Ovechkin, lately, he's getting old. He has gray hairs at this point. But, like, a lot of his goals do come from that one part on the ice, and obviously lately they've been empty netters, actually. But I still think that earlier in his career he was still scoring in unbelievable ways. So I still do believe, no matter what, I think even right now you could say he's the greatest goal scorer of all time. But honestly, I really hope he breaks that record. I would love to see it happen, and it would honestly be history. We'd be witnessing history, watching that happen. It's still a ways to go, probably another year or two. But hopefully he will break it. Moving on here, Jack Hughes also made history in the NHL. He recorded the longest shift in NHL history at 6 minutes and 2 seconds.
Yeah, that's insane.
I will say this. It's the longest shift since the shifts have been recorded in 2007, 2008. So there's probably been longer shifts before that. Like Wayne Gretzky probably was on the ice for
3 periods straight.
Yeah.
That's probably pretty realistic. Same with guys like Mario Lemieux. But since the stats been tracked, it's 6 minutes and 2 seconds, which I think is absolutely crazy.
That's a lot, especially how far the game's changed, where shifts are now 30 to 45 seconds. A 6 minute shift is crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm thinking of defensemen who get a lot of time on the ice. Shabbat plays 25 minutes a night. Hughes played a fifth of that, over a fifth of that in one period, which is in like half of a period, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But I just think it's a pretty impressive record. And not many people really have talked about it, but
No, that's something that's kind of cool too.
yeah. Anyways, moving on to some injuries. Luke Kunin is out for the rest of the season with a torn ACL. Big blow for the Sharks, but obviously they're not gonna be.
They're not contending.
They're not contending, so it's not a huge deal. But still, hopefully Kunin comes back. Same with Cam Atkinson as well. He's undergoing neck surgery and he's going to be out for the rest of the season. He hasn't played a game at all this year, which I think is kind of concerning for Atkinson's overall career. Maybe we're seeing another Ryan Ellis, Sean Couturier situation here in Philadelphia, just adding to, Carter, your face just says it all. Adding to the injuries and injuries and injuries.
They're still winning games.
They are still winning. They're winning.
We're winning right now. I'm so shocked.
I'm surprised we're actually playing all right. We beat the Devils. That was
ridiculous.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
God.
I've had no time to watch those hockey games, but that, when I saw that one, I'm like, no way.
Kinda hot, clutched up for that. He had 48 saves that night.
Yeah, Hart is playing unbelievable. Give Hart the Hart, honestly. He should get Hart votes.
He should.
Because that's the only reason why we're still pretty bad, but that's the only reason why we're
That's the only reason we're not below Jack.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
thanks for not going below.
Yep, you're welcome.
You'll still get Fantelli.
Blake Wheeler and Nate Schmidt. I feel like I said that wrong. Nate Schmidt.
You said it right.
Okay. I feel like I said that wrong. I'm like, what the heck?
No.
Blake Wheeler and Nate Schmidt are going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks. Do you remember? I didn't write down the injuries. Do you know what they are, Carter?
So I know that Wheeler's was a groin injury. I was watching the game when it happened. I think he took a puck there or something like that. It looked pretty bad. And then on, I think it would have been last Thursday, it was against Nashville. Schmidt took a hit up high, right to the chin, I think, and it buckled him or something. It's an upper body injury. They haven't really said anything else on it, other than the fact that it's upper body. But then Lowry fought the guy and absolutely pummeled him. So
yeah. Anyways, moving on to signings now. The Oilers have signed Stuart Skinner to a 3-year, $2.6 million contract. I think at this point, Skinner's going to be at worst a really good backup goalie. He could honestly be the starter for Edmonton. He kind of has been. Realistically, Jack Campbell's been terrible.
He has not looked good.
He's been one of the worst goalies in the league. And I kind of I completely forgot about this. And I don't know why, but whenever it comes time to make topics for the podcast, I always forget about topics. But I wanted to talk about how some of the goalies this year have struggled significantly. Jacob Markstrom looked bad.
I've noticed that too, yeah.
Players like Vasilevsky and Shesterkin have had underwhelming stats. Not bad stats, but underwhelming stats. Bobrovsky's been bad. Fleury's been bad. I kind of wanted to make a topic about that, but I guess we'll have to wait until next episode. But yeah, overall, Campbell has been terrible, and Skinner should become that starting goalie. The Oilers also signed Jason Demers to a 1-year, $750K contract. I'm shocked this guy's still playing. I was like, whoa. I was like, there's no way, because I don't think he played last season. I don't think he was signed by a team last year. And I remember he left the Coyotes through free agency, wasn't signed to a team, and then the Oilers offered him a PTO. I completely forgot about him. But hey, he's back in Edmonton now. With that horrible blue line, I guess you do need anyone you can get.
Yeah.
And then our final piece here in headlines, the Hamburglar has retired.
No.
So sad. When I saw this, I was actually kind of tearing up. I love the story of Andrew Hammond and the Hamburglar story. It sucks he never solidified himself with an NHL team. He's kind of bounced around a lot since Ottawa. He's with Colorado, Anaheim. He's been through a couple teams.
Greatest Sens goalie of all time.
Yep, honestly, 100% agree. Then additionally, Alex Biega and Brendan Goulet have also retired. So some other players there that may spark some memories, but Biega kind of been around the league a lot. Goulet was kind of a minor defenseman, so not a huge deal, but
he was in the DEL, I think.
Yeah, he went to the DEL, and I think like his club announced that he retired for personal reasons. So yeah, a lot of, and that's not the only players that have retired. There's a couple other like minor, really, really minor players that I've seen retire as well, but those are just the main guys.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's all I have for headlines. You guys have anything else? Can you guys think of anything that's happened?
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
I got everything pretty much, apart from like some suspensions that have happened the past couple of weeks. There's been a lot more suspensions than usual, and fines. That's one thing I have noticed. But yeah, that'll do it for this segment. We will return in a little bit to wrap up this podcast with two more of our topics. We're just getting started, people. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, welcome back. So heading into another New York team now, making some headlines. We're going to ask the question, and it is a big question. Could the Buffalo Sabres make the playoffs this year? I don't think anybody of us thought that actually Buffalo was going to be a team that makes it this year. We knew there was some light at the end of the tunnel, and it's already been a pretty long tunnel. But we still didn't think that they would make it this year. So far this season, they are 16, 14, and 2, and they have won 4 straight. They have 4 points out. They are 4 points out of the wild card spot in the Eastern Conference. They still have a shot at making it, and I think honestly they could be one of those teams that battles right until the end. Honestly, this is a team that was doubted at the beginning of the year, but really a lot of players have definitely stepped up to the plate and have played really good. So I'm going to ask you guys this question before we get into the obvious player that we're going to talk about here. Do you guys think that Buffalo can make the playoffs?
I think so. I think they have the talent to also.
Yeah, they 100% can. Like if the guy that we're going to talk about keeps playing the way that he's playing, I don't think that there's like a single chance that they won't make it. Like this team has been absolutely electric to watch. I'll just say it, Tage Thompson, he's been unreal. Wow.
Yeah.
This guy is honestly, and we'll just go right into him. He's been a human highlight reel. 50 points on the season already. He's the first non-Oilers player to reach that milestone, and I think the third player in the almost NHL history in the NHL to reach that this season. Did you guys know that he was almost traded for a 5th-round pick? Did you guys see that post?
Yeah, I saw that. That's insane.
Where the Sabres said that reportedly they were upset with Tage Thompson struggling and they were going to trade him, but the other team didn't want to give up a 5th-round pick.
Dude,
wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You're basically getting a superstar for a 5th-round pick.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy. Like, again, no one could tell that this 6 foot, what is he, 6'7", 6'8"?
Yeah, he's tall as hell, too.
He's ridiculous. He's not human. I don't think he is. He is massive, and he's doing things that literally Connor McDavid is doing at like 6 inches taller.
He's literally using his size to his advantage. I see the way he just like, he's like tall enough that like he can just like lift his stick up and like deke through defenders, and that's how he's scoring a lot of his goals. And his shot too is insane.
It's just like, pure skill.
When he signed that contract, I actually originally thought that like this contract was going to bite Buffalo in the butt. And I thought that Thompson was still going to be all right, but it was only based off of one season. So I was like, I don't know if you should really make this big of a signing right away, but I'm glad they did because Thompson is playing honestly out of his mind this year for Buffalo. And he's not the only one, too. Rasmus Dahlin, another notable player who played really good. He was amazing to start the season off. He has kind of cooled down a little bit, but still playing pretty good. 10 goals, 27 assists for 37 points. Just unreal. I mean, like, there's a lot of players on the Sabres team that many people doubted, like Jeff Skinner, for example. Many people thought Jeff Skinner, when he signed that contract, it was going to be a bad deal. And for the first couple of years, it was. But last season he played pretty good, and this year he's playing pretty good as well. He's scoring some goals. So really, Buffalo has kind of rejuvenated themselves here as a pretty good team. And I'm going to say it, I don't think they make it. I don't think they make the playoffs this year. Sorry, guys. But I honestly do believe that, like, if Like they could be a team that fights right to the end, and they could be extremely competitive against other teams. They beat Vegas the other night. They proved that they can beat those big teams like Vegas and all those other really top teams in the league. And they beat Los Angeles as well. They absolutely embarrassed Columbus. That was a brutal game.
Paige Thompson.
But yeah, like just Thompson playing out of his mind. And not only that, that game against Columbus was one of multiple games this season where he's had like 4 or more points. Like I can't think of what game it was. I think it was against Chicago actually. Thompson had I think a 5-point night.
I'll check.
It might have. How many points did Thompson have against Columbus? It was 6, right?
I think so, yeah.
I think Thompson also had a 6-point night against Chicago. So yeah, just playing absolutely out of his mind. And that's really all you can say. In net, however, Craig Anderson's looked pretty solid. There's been a couple injuries in net, but Craig Anderson's looked pretty good. A 7-4-1 record, a 2.65 goals against average, and a .922 save percentage. What was it, Carter?
Detroit, October 31st. He had 6 points.
Detroit and Chicago, I get mixed up easily. But yeah,
You could even look at a trade for a goaltender if you're Buffalo too.
yeah, exactly. You can even trade one of those goalies and get even more assets. So definitely a real possibility there if you're the Sabres. I think they're definitely in a much better spot. I love this team. Like I love the players. I love management. I love watching them play. It's honestly so much fun, and I never thought I'd say that a couple of years ago. Like,
Well,
Yeah.
they even have some like great prospects too, like Matthew Savoie, who they got in last year's draft. He's been tearing it up in the dub, and he's gonna be a force.
and I
With
mean,
Tage
like,
Thompson.
there's been a lot of rookies that have made their debuts. Paterka's made their debut. Quinn has starting to play his first full season. I'm trying to think of who else, but there's other players that haven't even been in the lineup yet, and they still have an unbelievable prospect pool. And then this year's draft too is pretty stacked. If they fight till the end, they probably will be around like the 15, 16 mark when it comes to drafting. But like this is a stacked draft this year. So they could get another really stacked prospect. And who knows, maybe they decide to trade somebody else come deadline.
Maybe.
And maybe they can get something else out of that. But who knows? This team really has been pretty good. And maybe even come deadline too, they could be buyers at the trade deadline. If they're close enough, they could make a move that pushes them into the playoffs. But honestly, I really wouldn't. I wouldn't try and make a move like that. But I mean, if you get the opportunity to, like Patrick Kane, for example, because he's from his hometown, Buffalo, maybe he does choose to go over there, but who knows? But yeah, I'm going to say they don't make the playoffs just because like that division's competitive. There's a lot of other good teams that are going to miss it this year. So I just think Buffalo is going to be one of them. But yeah, any thoughts on Buffalo as we wrap that up?
No.
Nope.
I hope they make it. Will
I
they?
do too.
I don't know.
It'd be really fun to have them make the postseason, and because right now they're tied with, I can't remember which team it is for the longest playoff drought.
Florida.
Yeah. So they're tied with Florida. I hope they don't break that record, because it'd be so fun to watch them in the postseason.
It would.
Yeah, especially depending on what team they play. Anyways, moving on here to our final topic. This shouldn't take all too long, but Carter's favorite thing, the World Juniors are upon us. Yeah, we saw that coming. Carter was having some fun behind the scenes on the pod. He was like getting into the back of a Canada photo on our Zoom meeting and was like posing himself like he was there winning it.
He's part of the team.
I was there. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, I see you in the back, in the very back.
Yeah, like don't you see me? Like guys, I'm right here.
There he is.
Exactly.
See, I was there. Like, what are you talking about?
Okay, so basically what we're going to do for World Juniors, we're kind of going to just like we're going to talk about like the top 4 teams that make it, who wins bronze, who wins silver, and who wins gold. And then we'll talk about like players that could be exciting to watch. So I'm going to let Carter take it away. I'm just going to let Carter you don't want to go first?
I'd like to end it.
You like to end it? Okay, I'm going to let Jack go first then. Jack, what do you got?
All right. So my predictions, Canada gold. And then I think Finland for silver. and then USA for bronze.
Who do you have as a team that could make it as like the fourth team? Like, who's the team that plays USA for bronze?
I was thinking Germany or Sweden. I'm kind of leaning towards Sweden.
Yeah, I agree. Um, for gold, I have Sweden. For silver, I have Canada. I think, and I'm going to say this.
Wait, you have Sweden for gold?
Yeah, I have Sweden for
Yeah,
gold.
you know that's not
Yeah.
possible, right?
It's not possible.
No, we play in the same group.
Oh,
Wait, no. Am I confused on how the turn? No. We can't play them. Technically, we can't
I think
because
all right,
because it's
fine
group.
then. I have USA winning silver and Canada getting bronze. I see how it is. I have.
Hey.
I didn't realize that. I don't really. I watched the World Juniors in summer, and that's the first time I ever legitimately watched the World Juniors. So, yeah.
Apologize.
But yeah, as the teams that I have making it, Sweden winning gold, USA winning silver, and then Canada winning bronze, people are not gonna like that. Sorry guys. But guess who I have as that fourth team? They start with
Latvia.
an L and end with an A.
Latvia.
Latvia. I have Latvia upsetting Finland, upsetting Germany, and making the top four. It's
Wow.
happening, guys. Believe it. It's happening. Honestly, like they don't. The thing that sucks is Ralph Bergmanis, the one defenseman who like was amazing last year or in the summer for Latvia, is not on the team.
Yeah,
So
that kind of sucks.
when I'm watching Latvia this year, I'm gonna need to find out a new identity, a new player to root
A new stud to follow.
a new stud to follow. I was rooting for Bergmanis, but he's no longer playing. Neither is their goalie, like Bruveris. And the one thing that I noticed with Latvia is that all of their players end with an S. It's like Bergmanis, Wallanis, Manis. It's so weird. Like they're just all S's. It's really weird.
Yeah.
But I'll let Carter finish it off, and then we'll talk about some exciting players that are kind of around
tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, my gold medal, I think it's pretty obvious who it is. It's Canada. Come on, we're going
Is it
back
obvious
to back.
though?
What?
Is it obvious though?
Yeah. I mean, I think it is.
I'd say it's pretty obvious. I'm not gonna lie.
You
Maybe.
US winning bronze.
Well, I'm the man of upsets. I like seeing
Yeah,
upsets.
he
So
is. That's true.
I think one's
That
gonna
is-
happen this year. I
that
had
is
Canada
true.
winning gold in the summer. I think somebody else gets it this year. Maybe USA.
No.
Who knows?
Sorry. I shouldn't.
Wow.
It's very serious. No, I got Canada winning gold. I got it was tough between Finland and the US. But I'm gonna go Finland silver.
That's fair.
US is gonna take bronze and then Sweden in fourth, I think.
That's fair. I could see that definitely happening. Obviously, realistically, I have a feeling Canada's just gonna win. I mean, like you look at the stacked team, but I love seeing upsets happen. So some exciting players that I saw, Connor Bedard.
It's pretty obvious.
Pretty obvious. I mean, like that's the obvious.
He's the number one projected pick in this year's draft, so he's kind of one guy to watch.
Isn't Shane Wright playing this year too?
Shane Wright's there as well.
Yeah.
Brennan Othman, he's another guy
Logan
that's gonna be.
Stankoven too.
There's the one thing I did notice. For the it's not. I think it might. Is it Team Canada? But they have a lot of Ducks players on this. Like two of the players on the World Junior team are Ducks players. So the
Really?
Ducks future is pretty nice.
Let me take a look at a couple of the teams here. They've released a few of the rosters.
Canada also has Fantilli, so that's like really good too. We have the two top players in this year's draft. Like, how can you not expect this team to not be exciting?
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm looking at Germany's roster. I think they might be underwhelming this year. I don't really see that many players that are like eye-opening. Germany might not be that good this year.
There's a couple teams that I'm like really looking forward to watch. Finland's one of them. Finland, I feel like always has a good team. Like they have so many good players on that team. Brad Lambert.
Yeah.
Brad Lambert's actually one guy to watch. I think he's probably gonna be probably one of the best first players I'm gonna probably try and watch because what he does is ridiculous. And
Yeah,
plus he's a
Lambert's
Jet.
looking interesting. I'm looking at Sweden's roster right now. I definitely think this team could make an upset. They have some solid players on this roster. Leo Carlson, Fabian Lysell, Bystedt. Their defense. Ooh, Elias Pettersson. Elias Pettersson's in the World Junior again.
No! He
Oh,
re-aged. He re-aged.
Oh yeah, that one guy.
No, it's the Pettersson on defense. I'm like, no way. But yeah, let me take a look at Finland here real quick, and then we'll wrap this up. I didn't look at all the teams. I only looked at like Sweden and Canada. Yeah, Finland looks interesting. Kamel and Lambert, they look pretty interesting.
There's so many guys on Canada that have looked really good.
Yeah, the America.
Like, the fact that we have the two top players in the draft is crazy. Fantali and Bedard.
America's obviously good again. Red Savage. Who the heck is Red
Oh,
Savage?
Red Savage.
I love Red Savage.
He played
oh
last
my
year.
God. He cost them something. He took a penalty.
He got thrown out on the first game, I think.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I remember I didn't watch the game where they lost to Czechia in the summer, but I remember the morning after waking up to them losing. I'm like, there's actually no way they lost. Crazy.
One thing I will say, this kind of feels underwhelming for I don't know much about the goalie prospects, but one thing I do know is it seems kind of underwhelming.
I feel I don't know why, but every year I kind of expect a big name goalie to be in it.
Rarely
is. There
is.
hasn't been, because I don't think there's a Wallstead. There's no Askarov, obviously, because I don't think Russia's in this.
There's no Spencer Knight. There's no Devin Levi.
There's no who's Canada's goalies? I forgot to look at.
Canada's goalies Ben Goudreau and Thomas Milic.
Yeah, that's not who was it in last year's World Juniors? I can't even remember.
Last year we had Sebastian Kosa, I think, was our starter.
You had Brennan, or not Brennan.
I know Kosa was one.
I forget the guy's name. It's such an obvious name. You think you'd remember it.
Well, now I'm gonna have to look this up because I'm supposed to be the World Juniors expert.
Yeah, you're the expert at this, Carter. Come on. All right, hold on. I feel like I should know what it is, but I can't remember for some strange reason.
Canada.
It's is it Doug something? I don't know.
Dylan Garin? Garen?
Oh, Garen. Yeah, that's the guy. I was
he might have been our starter, I think.
I remember they interviewed him in the gold medal game. I remember they interviewed him, and I remember watching it. But yeah, anything else on World Juniors, guys? Anything else we got?
Yeah, no, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I can't wait.
It's my favorite hockey tournament. You can call me lame for thinking that I don't like. It's not that I don't like the Stanley Cup playoffs. World Juniors is so much more fun. Oh my God.
It's all young players.
It's all young studs. It's and plus you get your entire country behind them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's awesome. It's the greatest tournament in hockey.
It's a lot of fun to watch. But anyways, that will conclude this episode of the NordCast. Most likely the last episode of 2022. Next week we're all going to be pretty busy, so we might not be able to record. But yeah, thank you all for the support in 2022. We really do appreciate it. 11 episodes. It was a great run. But anyways, guys, that will do it for us. Thank you all for watching. And most likely by our next podcast, we'll probably have the World Juniors winner. But anyways,
yes,
thank you all for listening or watching. And we'll see you guys in 2023. Adios.